Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome back to Love in Progress, the podcast for growth minded singles who are healing, learning, and still believe in real aligned love. I'm your host, Miss Nookie, and today's episode is a power move: dating with clarity, how to know what you want and stop settling. We're getting real about why so many people feel like they're attracting the wrong ones when in reality, they're just unclear. Let's fix it today with truth, strategy, and a little soul. Why dating without clarity doesn't work. You can't attract what you haven't defined. So if you haven't truly thought about what you want outside of just physical aspects, it's not going to come. It's not going to come. Vague intentions lead to vague connections. Oh, I just want a good man. What does that mean? What characteristics describe a good man for you? Is it someone with integrity, someone who will defend you in front of their family? What does good mean? We have to be very, very specific. Think about, we talk about Sierra, and now we talk about Tiana Taylor. They all talk about having their list. They're very clear. See, a lot of us are dating from avoidance, not alignment. And that's the problem. You just say, okay, I just don't want this. But then what do you want? Be very clear. The characteristics of the person that you want. You want them to be kind. Do you want them to be kind? Do you want them to be compassionate? Do you want them to be loving? Do you want them to be empathetic? These are the type of things that you need to start thinking about if you want to up your game to truly finding the one that you love. Now, when you're unclear, you end up entertaining people who don't match, compromising prematurely, getting attached to potential instead of patterns. Now, I can definitely say, before I began my love journey, yes, I was entertaining people who didn't match. I was on the apps and I was swiping more so based off of just physical characteristics and not really paying attention to what their profiles are saying or paying attention to even their pictures. Pictures mean a lot. While you're dating, look for someone who has diverse pictures. Pictures of them chilling, pictures of them on vacation, pictures of them, business casual or business. You want to know that the person that you're swiping for is well-rounded. That's one of the first things that you really should look at. Now, when you're not sure what you want, you meet someone and you start to compromise very early because you don't have any boundaries, and you don't have your negotiables or non-negotiables, so you begin to negotiate on everything and end up with nothing. Really and truly, you end up with nothing that you really, really and truly would want. And then you get attached to potential instead of patterns. Now, we all can see goodness in someone. The problem is sometimes that person doesn't see what we see in them. But that potential is there, but you cannot instill that potential in someone. You cannot make someone be what you believe they can be, is basically what I'm saying. Think about it for yourself. Do you want someone to come in and just instantly change you and tell you, oh, you need to do X, Y, Z, and are you going to just follow suit and do what they do and do what they tell you to do? Probably not, or at least I hope not, because we're not looking for someone to just come in and just change us. Now, compromise is something that is a pinnacle of relationships because you are two people coming together. So when you have two people coming together, there has to be something, there has to be give and take. And that's why your negotiables need to be clearly defined so that you know what you're willing to compromise on and what you're not willing to compromise on. If they are persistent about you compromising on it, it's time to exit stage left. It's time to just leave, get the hell out of Dodge. The love you want can't find you if you keep hiding from your own truth. Sit with that for a minute. The love you want can't find you if you keep hiding from your own truth. What is your truth? What do you want? Think about all the relationships that you've been in the past. And actually get a piece of paper. Write down all of the good things that happened in those relationships, and then write down all of the bad things that have happened in those relationships. So when you look at the bad side, know that those are your non-negotiables. You will not go through that again. So anytime you see anything from that bad list, you address it. If they don't want to change or they're not open to change or listening to you address the bad stuff, exit stage left. We're not wasting time anymore. We are being proactive. We're being open, we're being communicative, and we will leave. Lots of times that is what happens. They know you're not going to leave. No matter what, they know you're not going to leave. So we're no longer going to be stuck in that pattern ever again. Why? Because Miss Nookie is on your side. The love you want can't find you if you keep hiding from your own truth. I need you guys to write that down and sit with that. Write it at the top of your journal so you can remember it every time you just start senselessly swiping. No, it's not going to work. You need to swipe with intention. And you also need to get your behind out the house. I saw a study yesterday that basically said a majority of the people who are on dating apps are people who are in relationships or are married. And, dating apps, it gives so many options that you kind of overstimulate yourself with all of the options that you get. It's good to be able to vet profiles and, you may meet someone, but don't forget the power of meeting someone in person. Don't forget the power of meeting someone organically. Because when you meet someone organically, you know that there's like an instant interest right there. And then you can go through and vet that person. So get up, get out the house. We're not doing senseless swiping forever. We're changing our approach. The difference between preferences, standards, and boundaries. Preferences, I prefer this over this. A preference is something that's nice to have. For example, 6'2", entrepreneur, lives downtown, has a 5-bedroom house. That's a preference. Yes, it's a preference. It is not a standard. It is a preference. It's something that's nice to have. We're changing our mindsets here. Your love, the love of your life, the marriage that you want, the life that you want is a simple mindset change away. And that's what you're here to get and learn, the simple mindset changes. Preferences, something that's just nice to have. Standards. Standards must align with your values. Are they emotionally available? Are they consistent? Do they fall to the wayside and spin the block? Now, there is a way to spin the block. I'm not going to say that all spinning of the blocks are a bad thing. Sometimes life is lifing. Sometimes life is lifing. It isn't always a bad thing when someone falls to the wayside. Sometimes something happens and they get caught up with life and then they may come back. Now, the way to come back, the best way that I would say if someone is going to spin the block is when you come back, be honest. Be honest about what happened. Be honest. XYZ happened with my family. So, I had to take some time to deal with them and be sincere in your apology. Be sincere when you say, I'm sorry that I wasn't in touch. And maybe, just maybe, you'll get that second chance. And for the person who is listening to all of this, follow your gut. Follow your gut. Follow your gut. Our gut, that's where our intuition is. And lots of times when you follow your gut, you are right. If you feel like they're giving you a load of crap, exit stage left. Tell them, no, thank you, but I wish you the best in your search for love. That's one of my key phrases when I'm ready to distance myself from somebody, because I'm not going to argue with you. I'm not going to ghost you. I'll just let you know, sorry, this just is not working for me, but I wish you the best, because I truly believe we all deserve love. So standards must align with your values. In terms, what are you looking for? Are you looking for marriage? Are you looking for marriage with kids, depending on how old you are? Boundaries. Boundaries are what protects your peace. No love bombing, no last minute plans, because that's one thing I'm not gonna do. You're not going to call me the day of and have me scrambling trying to get ready for a date. No, I'm not. I should not be a last minute thought. If you want to go on a date, you should have intentions. You should have a plan at least 2, 3 days prior. How would you like to meet me here at such and such a time? No last minute, ladies. We're not doing the last minute. And the love bombing, you meet, I'm a hopeless romantic. So I've been caught. Excuse me, I've been caught a few times in love bombing. When they're just, oh my gosh, you're just so amazing, and I'm going to marry you, and I want to be with you. And yeah, we're not doing that anymore. Or even the breadcrumbing. The breadcrumbing is when they kind of get you excited, but they have no follow through. One thing that I definitely do while dating, I'm going to let you say everything you want to say. I will yes, yes, okay. Mm-hmm. I will yes you to that. Why? Because I like to sit back and wait to see if there's any actions behind your words. Because it's the actions that truly matter. So think about that, gentlemen. If your actions aren't in alignment with your words, you could be missing out on the love of your life. And ladies, be aware of this, because empty promises are nothing. Empty promises are a waste of time. And also, this is part of the reason why you should date multiple people. And when I say date multiple people, I mean actually date them. Dating is collecting data. You're getting to know them. I'm not saying get physical with multiple people, just date multiple people. You don't want all of your eggs in one basket. It makes no sense, because you're just wasting time. So preferences are something that It's nice to have. Standards, standards align with your values, and boundaries protect your peace. No love bombing, no last minute plans. I need you to mean what you say and say what you mean. If you tell me you're on your healing journey, because no one is ever truly healed. So don't tell me that you're healed, because there's always something else that you can address. But if you're on your healing journey and you're telling me, I'm looking for my wife, I'm looking for my person, then I need you to act like that. I need you to pursue me like that. Or pursue whoever you're going after, pursue them like you truly want them. And that's one thing that I've noticed that, when a man knows what he wants, he knows what he wants. And he's not going to waste time. And he's not going to be intimidated if you say you are dating multiple men. A man who truly wants you, a real man who truly wants you, is not going to be intimidated. He's going to step up to the plate and show you why he is the one that you need to be with. So when you're out here and you're letting men know that you're dating multiple people, if a man is like, oh, well, you must be sleeping with them, because a guy hit me with that one time. Well, if you're dating multiple people, there must be one of them that you're laying down with. I said, you know what? I said, we just started talking. And if you can't believe me right now, then I bid you adieu. I wish you the best in your search for love, because I am not going to sit here and constantly prove myself to someone. That's what I'm not going to do, because I'll give you grace. I'm going to believe you until you give me a reason not to believe you. I don't automatically say I don't believe anyone, because when you do that, you're bringing in you're bringing in your trust issues from the past. It's one thing to be vigilant, listen and see whether or not they're going to do what they're going to do. But to automatically think that someone is lying to you, what does that say about you, for you to think that there's no one that you can meet that's going to tell you the truth? Lots of times we don't think about how we perceive others is truly a reflection of ourselves and something that we need to deal with. See, I know I deserve my person. And I know that they're coming. So it's not hard for me to believe someone when they tell me something. I'm going to believe you until you give me a reason not to. Now, another thing about me, I'm a very intent listener. I listen to what you don't say. So I can gather a lot from conversations, and because there's something subconscious that we may say to someone that we're not sure about, that we may not even realize that we're saying it. So I for the most part, not all the time, I can tell when a man, is feeling wishy-washy, or, when men do this thing where they kind of pull back. They pull back when they truly start to catch feelings, because they're a little scared to be vulnerable, which, society has made them that way. Which, men, I'm not saying this as a ding to you guys. I'm saying this so women can be more aware and allow you more grace. So, if you guys in the comments, or if you're watching the replay, if you want to talk about what your preferences or standards or boundaries are, go ahead and drop them in the comments. I'll follow up with you guys, and we can talk about them, and I'll let you know which ones I think are good or which ones I believe you can improve on. Let's get this. It's the end of 2025, and this has been a hell of a year. So let's prepare ourselves for next year. Let's just say it in our minds that next year is going to be a good year. Next year is the year that I'm going to find the love of my life. Next year is the year that I'm going to get married. These are the things you need to put into the universe. And you're here watching Love in Progress so that you are truly prepared. So you have some tips and some tools and some quote unquote tricks, not necessarily tricks, but different mindsets about your approach to help you vet better. Now, creating your clarity compass. What are your non negotiables? What are your non negotiables? For me, I know that I don't want someone with a lot of a lot of young children. My son is 18. That's a non-negotiable for me. You know, I do want someone who is on the same path as me in terms of looking for something serious that will eventually lead to marriage. So what are your non-negotiables? Drop them in the comments when you get a chance. What can you think of that you absolutely will not tolerate? Of course, the standard no lying, no cheating, but let's think a little bit broader. Let's think a little bit broader. You know, is they have to truly communicate. We can't just sit in silence all the time. We have to be able to communicate. If you're not a talker, then I can't be with you. Obviously, I like to talk. I like to get to the bottom of things. You know, at the big age that many of us are at, you know, we need to stand in our adulthood and stand up for ourselves. Creating your clarity compass. Number two, what emotional needs are you not willing to compromise? For me, I need a safe space. I need someone who will who can listen when I'm going through some stuff, or someone who can just, you know, see that I need a hug and give me a hug. Like those type of things are my emotional needs. We don't always have, yes, I'm a talker, but we don't always have to talk. Sometimes just sitting in silence. You can be on your laptop, I'm on my laptop, or we're just sitting watching a movie in complete silence. Sometimes that's all I need. Just I physical touch and closeness. That's an emotional need of mine. So if you're someone who, you have to talk constantly, or you can't just sit with someone, or, you're just not compassionate to see when your partner is going through something, then you're just not for me. Because there are people out there who, no matter whether they're with someone or not, they want to handle things on their own. That's just not me. And number three, in terms of creating your clarity compass, how do you want to feel in a relationship? I want to feel loved. I want to feel happy. I cannot be with someone who does not make me smile. We have to have fun together. We have to enjoy each other's company. And most importantly, I need to feel safe. I need to know that when you say, I got you, I know that you truly do. I need to feel safe. I need to feel loved. I need to feel happy. And with those three, if those three are in place, then I am in all of my feminine energy. That feminine energy, that it's that receiving energy. I'm ready to receive. Now you also have to think about what behaviors make you feel safe, seen, and supported. What behaviors make me feel safe, seen, and supported? when you can look at me and say, I see you and I'm here for you. Things like that make me feel safe. The way that you talk to me make me feel safe. If you're always yelling and I have to be in an energy where I have to be ready to clap back, or I'm on edge because I never know what personality of you I'm going to get, then I don't feel safe. And, and I'm here to understand you. This isn't just one sided. This is for both men and women, or however you identify. These are questions that you need to know. Because once you clarify all of these questions, you'll know when you meet your person. Because they will fulfill, they will understand your non negotiables. They're not going to make you compromise everything. They're going to make you feel the way you said you want to feel in a relationship. They're going to make you feel loved. They're going to make you feel safe. They're going to make you feel cherished. They're going to make you feel seen. They're going to make you feel supported. But you yourself need to know, what does that feel like, or what does that look like for me? And if you're having problems thinking about any of these, all you have to do is head on over to missnookie.com and book a free consultation. And I can help bring some clarity to you so that you're better equipped moving forward. So you can see the green flags. That's what we're looking for, the green flags. And when the red flags come up, boop, you just push them to the side and you keep on moving. But that's what it is. Because lots of times, if you're not truly prepared, if you're not clear about what you want, you miss out. You miss out on that good man or that good woman because you didn't know what you wanted. And that good man or that good woman, they end up with someone else. So you may try to spin the block and they're like, yeah, I already found someone. That's happened to a few of my clients. So that's real. Let's not fumble the bag on the good men and good women who are out there anymore. Let's make sure we're clear in our wants and our desires and our needs so that we can see that good man and that good woman when they come next time. That's what we're here for. That's what this is all about. And you also have to think, when you create this clarity list, it's not just about what you want in a partner, but who you want to be in love. How are you going to show up in love? How are you going to show up? How are you going to support your partner? How are you going to listen to them? How are you going to be there for them? How are you going to give them grace so that they can be vulnerable with you? These are all the questions that you need to think about before you get back out there so that you're not making all the mistakes that you made in the past. You're not on that never ending cycle of just bad dates and picking the wrong person, feeling like your picker is broken because, baby, my picker was broken for a few years. So I know a little thing about making sure that you update your picker so that you don't keep picking the wrong partners. Because that really happens when you don't address these things. And that's why you hear so many people saying, oh, all men are the same or all women are the same, and I just keep meeting the same person, because you're not doing anything different. But you're here. You're here watching Love in Progress. So this is the first step to your forever, the first step to your forever love. And I am so happy for those of you that are here with me and who are ready to change your love dynamic. You're ready to change your love life. You're ready to bring in the love of your life, your forever love, your husband, your wife, your lifelong companion. Good job in taking that first step by being here with me. I appreciate each and every one of you. Now, this is something we need to talk about. Why we settle even when we know better. A lot of settling comes when you've been out there and you're not having any luck, and society tells you that your clock is ticking. You need to hurry up. You need this. You need to check off all these boxes. Society. Fuck society. You are where you need to be. Wherever you are is where you need to be. Period. And if you start, once you start to believe that, that fear of being alone that makes you settle, it dissipates. You're no longer alone. You begin to find a power in being alone. It's a power to know that you didn't pick shit. It's a power to know that you didn't choose the shitty guy or the shitty girl. There's a power in that, knowing that, oh, you know what? They were nice and they were cool, but you know what? There's something about them that I know I couldn't deal with. And I'm not saying this because some men may start thinking, oh, that's why women don't have anybody because they're too daggone picky. No, sometimes you have to be picky, especially in this day and age where dating is a straight shit show. And there are so many people out there who are not serious about love. They're not serious. They just want a sugar mama or a sugar daddy, or they just want something physical. They just want to have fun and run. So you need to be a little more picky. You need to have a little more discernment when you are truly proactively pursuing a relationship. Why we settle even when we know better? Unhealed wounds. Sometimes you feel like this is all I deserve, or this is all I can get. I can say that I've done this where, I start to think to myself, maybe I can come down on this. Maybe this isn't so important, or this thing isn't so important. But I can tell you, every time, every time I begin to lower my standards, the universe sends someone to remind me. They send someone to remind me that I don't have to lower that standard. And this person is just a reminder. They're not my forever person, but the connection that I may have with that person, or something that that man may say or, do, reminds me that, you know what, I can have that. I can have that. If this random guy who barely knows me can say this to me or make me feel, this way, but, might not be my person in any other way, but the universe sends me a reminder to not settle, and that who I want is coming. And that's how you need to think about it. You are worth everything that you want and desire. It is true love is your birthright. You are worthy. Another reason why we settle even when we know better, societal pressures. Once again, oh, you're getting up there in age, you need to have someone, or don't you think you've been divorced long enough? Isn't it time to have someone now? Stop. Leave me alone. Tell people, when the universe or God or whoever you worship sends your person, they're going to send your person. And that's how I like to respond to those type of pressures from people. When the universe is ready, they'll send them. It's plain and simple. I'm not going to be in a rush to make someone else feel good, because they're not the ones who are going to have to be in that relationship. They're not the ones who are going to be there when when you in your soul, in your gut, know that this is not your person. But you did it because you got tired of your auntie and them talking about you need someone, you need a man, you need a woman. Your person will come when the time is right. And as they say, the person normally comes when you least expect it. And I can say many of my clients have experienced that. It's on some random outing, they'll meet someone and then boom, they meet that person and that's it. Like they go on their last first date without even realizing it. And next year, many of you are going to go on your last first date. Why? Because you are equipped with the tools and the knowledge to see and recognize your person when you're on that date. And things are just going to flow. You're going to feel like you've known them before. You're not going to feel scared. You're not going to feel worried. And you're going to be able to be your truest self. Your weirdness, your quirkiness, your nerdiness. You're going to feel comfortable being exactly who you are around them. And that's how you're going to know. And you're going to feel that same energy from them. They're not going to seem predatorial or sneaky. They're going to just feel safe. And you're going to know they feel safe because you've done the work. You've given yourself that clarity. You've watched all these episodes of Love in Progress and you've done the work. 2026, it's your year. Now, there is another reason why we tend to settle: trauma bonds that feel like chemistry. Oh, your person cheated on you. I got cheated on too. Oh, you had a rough childhood. I had a rough childhood too. It's easy to feel a connection with someone who you can talk about your trauma with. But just because you can talk about your trauma with them doesn't mean that either of you have addressed that trauma to be in a space to date. That's the problem with trauma bonding. You're just rehashing the trauma, but not truly addressing the trauma. Now you could meet someone, trauma bond, and both of you determine that, maybe we should go to counseling for this, which I think would be a wonderful situation. But 9 times out of 10, you don't. You stay in that traumatic loop because you both have felt a similar hurt. And you feel like it's okay to just hurt together. And it's not. Address your traumas. Talk to someone. Journal. Get therapy. See, what you need to understand about settling is that settling isn't choosing peace. It's choosing familiarity over fulfillment. And that's what we do a lot of the times. We choose familiarity. If you've only dated one culture, that's familiarity. If you've only dated one culture and you haven't had any success, what do you think I'm going to say next? You have to step outside of your comfort zone. Date different cultures, date different races. You never know what will happen. But once you start to step out of your little box and entertain, people from like I said, different cultures, different races, that's where your person just might be. And I'm saying this to myself as well. My parents were Jamaican, you know, my parents are Jamaican, rather. So as a child, I always wanted someone like my father. So my dating history is 90% Caribbean, 90% Jamaican, I would say. But yet I'm here. I can laugh about it now, but I'm stepping outside of the box and I'm beginning to date other cultures. And guess what? I am having so much fun. I'm having so much fun. I enjoy dating again. And I enjoy dating again because I'm not dating from a space of desperation. I'm dating for fulfillment. And fulfillment, it may take a little time. And I'm okay with that because I know my person is out there. I know my person is on the way. He's coming. Asking for what you want without shrinking. Now, this is a big one. And I believe this is a big one for both men and women. Men, they're taught to be stoic, they're taught to be emotionless. So you may shrink yourself when trying to date someone. You may want someone to be that person that you can be vulnerable with and say, I need someone who sees me. I need someone that when things get rough, I can talk to them. Because basically, you're taught not to say stuff like that. But you should be able to because you are human beings just like the rest of us. You have the same emotions, you have the same feelings as the rest of us. So you need and should be treated the same. So we're no longer shrinking. You're not too much. You're not too picky. You're clear. You're not too much. You're not too picky. You're clear. And you have to practice saying what you want early with grace and groundedness. I have no problem saying, I'm looking for a relationship that's going to lead to marriage. If you've never thought about marriage or that's not on your mind, I will gladly say this isn't for me. Because I don't want you to want marriage just because on the first date I tell you or while we're talking and texting, I tell you this is what I want. No. You have to truly want it. You have to truly want it. One thing I can say, there was a guy that I was dating and a few years ago, and back then I was of the mindset that marriage wasn't an end goal. More so for me, I just wanted companionship. I just wanted someone who I could sit with when I'm 90 years old on the veranda and still talk to. And when I met this guy and he asked me and I told him that, he was a widower. He said, "Are you kidding me?" He said, "Do you know how wonderful it is to say my wife?" And honestly, that it changed my mindset because I didn't realize that there were men out there who truly want to be a husband, who truly want a wife, who want to say my wife. So hearing it from a man, it made me open to being married again. So just, think about that. But practice saying what you want early with grace and groundedness. If you're, young and you want children, tell them, I have no children and I do want to be with someone. Long-term relationship leads to marriage and I want children. Tell them how many children you want because that is something that truly does need to be. It needs to be discussed while dating before you become exclusive, because that is something that can cause a true argument between a couple. Because if you're dating and then, okay, you're dating for 3 months and then you say, okay, let's become exclusive, and you start to progress, and then you start talking about kids, and one person like, well, I don't want any kids, and the person says, I want 5 kids. I'm not saying that you can't get past that and you can't compromise and come to some agreement, but just imagine if you would have had that conversation up front. If you watched my last episode, Love Unscripted, that's what I did. I did something along those lines with a gentleman who was interested. He wanted the whole nine. He wanted marriage. He wanted the whole nine. We were of different religions. And so I asked that hard question up front. And I'm not willing to change my religion. So that's a non-negotiable for me. That's a big non-negotiable for me. Now, I'm not even going to talk about his reaction, but I believe that I saved both of us a lot of time and potential hurt by having that question up front, by talking about that up front. So practice saying what you want early with grace and groundedness. There are some other examples of things that you can say with grace and groundedness. I'm looking for something intentional. I value emotional honesty and consistency. I move with purpose, and I date that way too. You're being clear and open. And here's the affirmation that you can write in your journals. Clarity is not a liability. It's my protection. Clarity is not a liability. It's my protection. And I can say, yes, once I got clear on everything that I wanted and everything that I'm looking for, I've had a lot less BS come my way. Yes, it does rear its head every now and then. No one escapes it 100%. But I feel like I've dodged a lot of bullets that in the past I probably would have just absorbed those bad boys and just took it and kept moving like I'm bulletproof. But no, I do feel more protected because I know what I want and I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to speak up for myself. I'm not afraid to say I didn't like when you did that, when you did that. And it's not an argumentative speak up for myself. It's just letting you know that I know who I am. I know what I want, and I'm not afraid to talk. And I'm also accountable. Tell me if I do something wrong. Correct me if I do something wrong. I will apologize if I feel like I really did something wrong. Nah, just joking. But, I'm not without fault, but I am accountable for my actions. And I don't do anything intentional to anyone. But if I do something to you, it's because you did something to me. Yeah. And that's something that I'm still working on. Love in progress. I'm still a work in progress. We all are. But accountability means a lot. And if I'm telling you to practice saying what you want, be ready for your partner or the person you're dating to tell you what they want early with grace and groundedness. And be ready to either accept what they're saying or roll out. Never be afraid to leave what doesn't feel good. Never. I stayed in relationships way too long because I did that. Don't be afraid to leave. Do not be afraid to leave. Because your best life is on the other side. It really is. Your best life is on the other side. So, your journal prompt for today: what am I afraid to want out loud and why? What am I afraid to want out loud and why? What is it that you think you're asking for that you think you're going to be rejected about? That's the thing that you need to ask for, because that's what you really want. And we're not shrinking ourselves anymore. But that's your journal prompt for this week. What am I afraid to want out loud and why? Why are you afraid? You're not too much. You're not too picky. You've clarified what you want. And I know, women, many ladies out there may say, I need 6 figures. Then want that 6 figures. There's nothing wrong with that. And for the gentlemen out there, if a woman wants 6 figures and you don't make 6 figures, that's just not the woman for you. Stop trying to tell women that we want too much. Either you're going to step up to the plate or you're going to get left to the side. I know I put in the work and I put myself on a pedestal, and I'm not coming down. Meet me at the pedestal that I'm at. Why should I come down? I worked hard to get to where I am. And every last one of you are watching, whether the live or the replay, work yourself to that pedestal and know the work that you put in, and know that you deserve everything for the work that you put in. You're not too picky. You're not asking for too much. You're asking for what you truly want. Now, here's the challenge that I'm going to give you guys. And like I said, for all of these prompts and questions and everything, if you ever want to talk to me about anything, all you have to do is head on over to missnookie.com, and there's a link on my main page where you can select a free consultation so we can talk. So here's your challenge for this week. Revisit your last 3 dating experiences. Where did you bend clarity for connection? Where did you bend clarity for connection? Just think about that. At what point in your last 3 dating experiences were you unclear, but you didn't say anything? You didn't ask for that clarity. And once you figure that out and address those, make sure it never happens again. Promise yourself that it'll never happen again. It's that simple. It really is that simple. And I need you to always remember, you don't need to settle to be loved. You don't need to shrink to be chosen. You don't need to lower the bar. You need to raise your awareness. If this episode resonated, send it to someone who's ready to get clear. Next week, is it chemistry or a trauma bond? We're going all the way in, because love isn't perfect, but it's always in progress. I want to thank you guys for joining me tonight, and I'll see you next week. Have a good one.